Just figured out where all the pink eye is coming from. Alpha Fart is farting on everyone's pillows in the night.
To the fat bitch that lives above me, can you please fee-fi fo-fum elsewhere?
Those APs won't stop barking
Bucket
at a
hat
bitch.
guy has
Rough
such a
rough.
punchable face.
Texting my ex one
If
more
my roommate
hour.
smells
so
can I do it sooner
so
rather
bad.
than
Like, I
later?
can't even walk near her right now to get to my bed.
Fuck chicks with purple hair.
I just want to kill
Fuck
myself.
dudes with wishing it would get better.
Just a reminder
I feel
that
so
you can actually
pathetic
can
and worthless
outside
right
and
now.
stop looking orange.
These
from
are the
fake
days I
tans.
wish
If
I
I'm gonna
had
die
friends.
alone,
The workers are
can I do
brick
it
or
sooner
this
rather
school is
than later?
toxic as fuck.
So I decided to run for student body president because I've been involved with student government since first semester freshman year that I was at Miami. And one of my best friends who I met through student government, he proposed the idea to me about a year ago. And so we ran together and he ran as my vice president. I have been personally called out on Yikyak. People were saying, I'm so excited to vote for Stein Weiss. And then it kind of turned into, I would never vote for Danielle or spreading rumors about me. Someone said I'd vote for the UDF employees for student body president before I vote for Danielle Stein. I thought it was kind of funny and that people cared enough to use an anonymous app to talk shit about someone. But I was scared that it was going to harm my campaign because not everyone thinks about it that way and people might take what is being said seriously. But I was definitely very stressed out during that time, so it wasn't great to see rumors about me that weren't true on Yikyak.
The app, it called me out once, personally. I have a food account and it made a joke about it. It's called Simple Eats and everyone was like, Simple Eats, more like Simple Beans. It was funny at first, but then people started upvoting it and I was like, wait, that actually kind of sucks that people are even though it's a joke, jokes hurt sometimes. It's one of those, the app literally reminds me of guy friend who takes every joke too far. And then it called out you a couple times too, by your name.
Yeah. So there's a joke with Alpha Phi saying Alpha Fart and that Alpha Phi's fart. And my name got called out a few times saying Mary Rose Fartner and Mary Rose Toots, which it's funny and I think it's funny. But sometimes it does hurt my feelings to think that someone was behind a screen talking about me. What was the intent of that?
Yeah,
and
that someone was literally just sitting there I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna include Mary Rose.
And I still don't know who it was, so that's weird. I don't care about the content of what they said, but I care that somebody was talking about me anonymously.
So I'm an newly promoted associate professor of strategic communication. And my work is a mix of research, teaching, and service. And I do research on historical and contemporary developments of media and technology with a focus on the media that people make themselves, citizen media, and media that's used in educational contexts like schools. Gossip is something that's appeared in cultures the world over since I think probably the beginning of human communication, right? And gossip is probably part of the sort of suite of cultural practices that we use to bind ourselves together as communities.
I like how it's anonymous because it's all drama, and I like starting drama on there because people obviously can't see that it's me, and I also like seeing the drama and wondering if it's real.
Especially since it's anonymous, somebody could say, "Oh, I'm in Alpha Phi," and then say something completely false, and everyone's gonna believe it. Yeah, because there's no way to prove that it's true or not true. I think people view Alpha Phi negatively because of Yikyak. And it started off as a joke with the whole Alpha Fart thing. And it was funny, but once that started picking up traction and Alpha Phi got more attention on the app, it became kind of a hate space where Alpha Phi was called out for being racist or over tanning or being mean, being fake, being shallow. And it just kind of snowballed into all the things wrong with Alpha Phi.
During my campaign, someone posted on Yikyak that I hazed someone, which is obviously a big claim to make, which isn't true. And it ended up leading to me getting called into a meeting with the head of the elections committee for student government. And she was like, I'm not accusing you of anything, but it was people brought it to her attention because they saw it on Yikyak.
The idea of reputation is something that we work very hard to uphold a good reputation, and we feel shame when we feel like we have seen our reputation damaged. And the idea of having a good reputation is part of what guides our moral behaviors. So reputation can be an important, good, constructive force in a community, but it can also become a problem for people when people are, trying to sully somebody else's reputation because they don't like them, or or if we pay too much attention to reputation, that it kind of paralyzes us from taking risks and so on. So when I think about how apps like Yikyak might amplify your concern about your reputation, or might amplify people's ability to sully somebody else's reputation, a defining feature of Yikyak is its anonymity and its geofencing, right? So it's the fact that you are communicating with people who you know to be close to you geographically, and that's a unique feature of an app like this. Most of our social media have no such boundaries on them, right? And in fact, one of their defining features is that we're able to connect with people all over the country or all over the world. Yikyak brings this uniquely local focus, which is potentially powerful, right? You can think about all the local needs that a community has in terms of information. But the anonymity part is an interesting twist, and I think that's what makes Yikyak such a challenging place. The anonymity means that people can remove their filter, right? When we know that when people are anonymous online, they communicate differently than when they have their real identity attached to them. The locally bounded nature of Yikyak paired with the anonymity of the communication, to me seems like a recipe for the main kind of communication to surface on there, being stuff that verges on gossip, rumor, the kinds of maybe crude jokes or kinds of jokes and ideas that you wouldn't necessarily want to put on record if your name was attached. But it can also probably verge into a terrain that's, kind of not the kind of discourse people would have if their face or their identity was attached. If an app doesn't have a mechanism for holding communicators accountable for things like harassment or cyberbullying or libel, then there's a problem, I think. That when I think about another local medium to contrast Yikyak with, I think of like a local newspaper, right? So different. It's, kind of top down in terms of its communication model. It's got an editor. It's got a professionally trained journalist. It's got, a few dedicated professionals whose job is to pick stories, report them, speaking to people on the ground, and share them with the community. But one benefit of that model is that you have people putting their name on stories. So there's somebody to hold accountable if the story is wrong. There's also codes of ethics that guide journalism from the local to the national level that make sure that journalists aren't slandering or wrongfully accusing or defaming people in the community. When you remove those kind of guardrails, right, and you have an app where anything goes, where anybody can share whatever's on their mind, and then not be held accountable for it, like there's no way to trace the identity of the poster, then that can create a pretty vicious space probably, where people maybe act on their worst impulses, or where personal vendettas or rumors can take hold, or where a lot of harassment is taking place. So I would say that these sound like major structural problems with the app in the way that it's designed.